goes up and it sucks. Then it has a rest and it stops. And it does that for a very important reason. When you suck on the cow's teat, the blood vessels at the tip of the teat, the blood stops flowing. And if you stop it flowing for long enough, it will become quite congested, will rupture the blood vessels. See, I told you to move, didn't I? The blood vessels will rupture and the teat will become quite sore. And within a few days, the cow will not let you anywhere near. But by doing the suction and then the rest, the milk can flow, the blood can flow on, and we don't do any harm to the cow whatsoever. I just want to reorient. Come on. I want to get that leg back. So we're going to start the machine up. You watch carefully. I jump up and down. You notice whenever I go near the cow, I always let her know I'm here. Nice big pat. She can certainly hear me. I lean in. When I was a little boy to milk, he said, "You lean up against that joint, young fella. If she goes to joint, push you out of the way, and the kick will go by, you won't get hurt." It doesn't work. But it gave me enough confidence to at least have a go. I took a few kicks, still do every now and again. But basically we're okay. So we're going to now turn the vacuum on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And because she's nice and relaxed, straight away the milk is flowing out through the clear claw bowl at the bottom, into the clear bucket on the soil there. Now it's pretty obvious that that milk is coming out of that cow. You can see it all happening. But what may not be obvious, because why would you ever think about it? That milk is not refrigerated like at home. That's just come out of a cow. Her body temperature is 38, 39 degrees. That milk is probably about 37 degrees Celsius. Cows are very, very clever, boys and girls, mums and dads, because she can do something I can't do. She can store milk in her udder all day or all night at 36 degrees without any loss of quality whatsoever. The most sterile place you can store milk is in a cow's udder. But when the milk comes out into the bucket, what else is in the bucket? There's air. And what's in the air? There's bacteria. And the bacteria will get into the warm milk. And milk is great for growing little calves, boys and girls. It's also good for growing bacteria. So the bacteria in the air will start getting into that milk. And slowly, slowly, they will break that milk down and send it sour. That is so fresh, I would happily leave that sit here all night long without any refrigeration, and I would happily tomorrow. But I don't want any bacteria to get in or do any harm to my milk. So as soon as we have milked the cow, it flows through a rapid film chiller. It goes in at 37 degrees. 40 seconds later, it comes out at about 4 degrees and goes into the big stainless steel vat, which is 3.5 degrees. That is so cold, boys and girls. If you drank the milk out of the vat, you'll get one of those brain freeze headaches that gets you right there. And at that temperature, no bacteria can do anything. Now in the old days, the milk used to go off to the processing plant on the big road tankers. You probably stick them around and be processed into all the products that you buy and use. Now I'm going to take this off because I've got 2 cows and 4 demonstrations. So they've got to do 2 each. So I just break the vacuum and I take the cups off. Just shut this down. But there's one more thing I have to do before I let this cow go in home or even here. Take it back to the tie-up. You can't sit on this cow's teats are very thin film of milk. And the same bacteria, especially if the flies around, the flies can land on the teat, put the bacteria onto the milk, and you go from 1 to 10 to thousands to millions very quickly. And there's a chance, small chance, but a chance nonetheless, that some of that bacteria can sneak up through the teat into the udder and set up an infection. And that infection we call mastitis. I look around at these demonstrations, often I see ladies nodding. They know what mastitis is all about. It's painful, it's time consuming to work with or to cure, and it's expensive to cure. But 99.9 times, or 99.9% of the time, I can head it off by just sanitising the teat with an iodine-based teat sanitizer with a bit of glycerine into the teat drying out to keep the teat nice and soft. I can sanitise the cow's teat. She stood there all that time, wouldn't eat. Now look, she's eating. spray that down. You can imagine that would tickle, wouldn't you, boys and girls? So if you tickle a cow a little bit, she'll swish her tail around. If you tickle her too much, she'll kick you. So you don't want to tickle cows. I'm just going to take her back, and then we'll get on with the rest of the demonstration. I'll give you that later. Okay. Her little sister gave birth just a week ago. And because we're able now to choose, we use artificial insemination to get them pregnant. I'll explain to the littlies what that. And we can use what's called sex semen, so now we only ever breed females. She's a result, both of these are a result of sex semen. Okay, where are we up to? We'll take this off. This is the milk we produce. How much milk does a cow produce? It depends on where she is when she, because if that's the cow's head, this side there was a huge calf, and on this side was the stomach, well, one of the stomachs. She's got 4 stomachs, and when she gave birth, the calf pops out, but the stomach doesn't just go pow and fill up. It's a big muscular organ, and it takes about 2 weeks for it to stretch right out to its normal size. So in the first few days, they can't eat enough, and so they only produce about 10 or 15 litres of milk a day. And then when the stomach is fully out, after about 3 or 4 weeks, these cows, this cow over here was doing 35 litres of milk a day. That's this bucket full up every day, and she raised a calf as well. So that's what they produce. The more you feed them, the better you feed them, the more milk they produce. Can you drink more milk? That's raw milk straight out of a cow. Lovely and warm. Who wants to touch that? Who doesn't mind getting a bit of milk on it? Just touch the bottom of that. On an old Picton night, you can put that in a hot water bottle and you can snuggle up to that in bed. So you want to clean it out pretty well in the morning, though. Okay, lovely raw milk straight from the cow. Can you drink it? Who wants to touch? If I walk in front of that, it'll squeal at me. It's just, if it squeals, I'm going back. There we go. It's lovely warm milk, straight from the cow. Now, quite often in the morning when I'm milking, I might get one like that, just put some coffee in and stir it up and drink it. But if I'm really feeling like something special, I'll put the coffee in, half fill it with hot water, and when the cow comes in, underneath goes a coffee cup, 5 or 6 big squirts of milk straight from the cow. What happens when you put warm milk into hot coffee at high speed? It froths up. So I start every morning with a calcium cappuccino and I'm ready to milk. So lovely raw milk. Do put 3 caveats on it though.
Oh wow.
1, that the cow is healthier, sick cow. 2, that the machine clean, or the hands are clean. And 3, that the cow's udder was thoroughly washed, so I don't have any little floaty bits, I can't make out what they are in the milk. So this is the milk we want. Okay, let's just get on now with the milk separator. This is a cream separator. Dairy farmers are not terribly inventive when it comes to giving things names, they just call them by what they do. This is a cream separator, it separates the cream. The cow put the cream in the milk, all this does is take it out. So how does it work? It works on centrifugal force. I turn this handle, and inside here, there's 14 little cones stacked on top of each other. They're called alpha cones. And they spin round and round very, very fast. The machine works on centrifugal force. Big word, easy to understand. If I spin that cone fast, or a big flat disc like an old LP, an old vinyl LP, when I drop something on it, what happens? It gets thrown to the outside. Who remembers the gravitron? Used to go around to shows. Big round thing, you sort of stop against the wall and couldn't move. Wasn't that exciting, really, was it? It was a ride. Spin this really fast, flood it with milk. What happens? The heavy bit, the watery bit, the skim milk, is thrown quickly to the outside and flows out of its bottom spout into this container on the floor. And the lighter cream has got nowhere to go. So it's forced up through the 3 holes, right to the very top, and eventually comes out of the top spout into the plastic container there. So let me bring it up to speed. And it says here you have to turn the handle, and it's really, really hard to start. The machine this comes out of takes 2 of us to even think about starting it up. And the handle is really long. There's enough for 2 people to get stuck in. 45 turns a minute. So you've got to bring it right up to speed. Because what we're trying to develop is a force of 15 tons, I don't know what it is in kilo, pascals, that guy over there. Anyhow, 15 tons per square inch, about 2/3 the way up. And what happens is then the water is just sheared out and spread out to the bottom, and the cream goes to the top. I did work it out in metric once, it didn't sound very impressive. 15 tons per square inch. Most people know that's. Okay, bring it up to speed. The outside disc of the disc is travelling somewhere between 250 and 300 kilometres an hour. We'll tip some of the milk in. That should do it. I'll keep some of that for later. Back up to speed. It's be a little bit. When I was a little boy, Dad didn't listen to the radio when he was milking. He listened to this bell, and he'd count every time it went ding, and he'd watch the second hand on the clock. And if it didn't turn at exactly 45 turns a minute, and I guarantee it never went too fast, he'd let me know in his own little way. What he said, the idea. So straight away, it's flooding the cones. There comes the skim milk, just like the skim milk you buy and use in your homes each day. And the cream comes out this side. Just going to give it a bounce, get it going. Just going to give it a bounce. There we go. Pull the plug right out now. Doesn't matter. Keep going. Now sometimes people wrinkle their nose up and say, oh, there's not much cream coming out of there. I thought Jerseys used to produce a lot of cream. And of all the dairy breeds, yes they do. Well, that's really thick cream. It's thicker than what you buy in the shop. Yeah. This is about 40%, whereas the shop stuff is 35%. It'll get there. Here it comes. It's just about the end of the spout now. There it comes, dripping off. And Jersey cows do produce the highest amount of cream in any dairy cow milk, but it only is about 5%. So if I was a manager for the big dairy companies, what would I be putting on the bottle, on the label? I'll be saying that straight from a Jersey cow, this milk is not scent free. Straight from the cow. But if you want a lot lower, and I've got a bit of a leak going on here, it doesn't really matter. You go for the skim milk or for a different breed. Now we're going to turn some cream into butter. I can't use that cream for 2 reasons. I don't have enough. What's the other reason? There's 2 reasons. It's just come out of a cow. It's still warm. Butter's cold. We have to cool it down. So we cool it down. How often do you go to the fridge, say on a Wednesday? You had people over on the weekend. You've got that's thickened cream. You can use pure cream. You've got one of these, got a little bit left in the bottom. What do? Nothing wrong. Still within its use by date. If you're really good, you probably tip it down the sink, wash the container out, recycle the container, recycle the cream as well. All you need is a butter making machine. And these are butter making machines. That's the red tulip, that's the Cadbury one. I've just put about 150 mils of thickened or pure cream in there, allowed it to warm up a little bit. And if you're making it like this at home, you've got to start doing this. If you've got an electric one, well then you've got to press the button or do whatever it is to start it up. And there are probably hundreds of different ways of making butter. Mix master, bowl and a fork, things that bounce up and down, all sorts of things. Things that go round and round, bang, bang, bang. I like to use this for 2 reasons. One is that represents the least amount of washing up. Nobody likes washing butter off it. Washes up easily. And secondly, probably more importantly, look, it's good for you. It's a really good upper body workout. Notice the arms working, abs are tightening up. If you don't want tennis arm, you know, one big arm, one little arm, swap the arms every now and again. And one lady one year said to me, it does nothing for your legs. So anyhow, my answer to her is, You buy 2 butter making machines. You walk briskly to your local shop. Buy 300 mils of cream, put half in each, walk briskly home, shaking them. 20, 30 years ago, when all the ladies around here were into power walking, who used to do power walking? Little purple weights and your joggers, and you were off down the road for the exercise value. You would have fitted in nicely, but these days people will probably be wondering what you're doing. Now you shake, 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 shake. You can't hurt yourself, it's just cream bouncing up and down in the jar. What could be easier? But it gets thicker and harder, and you've got to really, really work at it. And then you get to the stage where you think, oh, why did I bother doing this? When you get to that stage, just stop. Go to the fridge, get some strawberries or scones out, because you've got lovely cream, big dollopy cream. Have some strawberries, have some scones, get your breath back, get your head back in the right place, and start up again. And usually when you start up, the doorbell rings, and when you open it, it's Grandma or Great Auntie Edna or somebody. And they very politely, because they are, ask you, why are you shaking that little jar up and down? And you say, I'm trying to make butter like the man at the show, but it isn't working. Their faces usually light up. And they say, but we make butter like that when we were little girls. But we put marbles in ours to aid the percussion. What do they mean by percussion? Oh, shaking up and down, what I'm doing is a cream particle is a big fat thing with a membrane around it, like a bit of cling wrap. When you bang them together, the cling wrap breaks down, the membrane breaks down, the fat particles stick together, and that's what we call butter. Butter is just cream with a bit of attitude applied. So we're shaking, shaking, shaking. Now I wouldn't put marbles in it. I've tried it. And when you tip the butter out, all you've got are fine, sharp shards of glass in the butter. It's like an Agatha Christie novel, Death by Butter. So no glass, no marbles. So what I do, my son used to do, my grandsons now, computer games, and they've got cheats. We all know about cheats, little ways of getting around something, they have to work too hard. Well, my cheat is a teaspoon of icy cold water in the jar. Got to put the lid on properly, otherwise it could be disastrous. And we shake again, and then it shakes a lot easier, and you feel a little bit happier up there. Now, would somebody like to just give you a good shake, a good hard shake? There's always somebody. It's exercise, it's not fun. Okay, so get in it. Keep shaking, keep shaking. Now, how do I make my cheese at home? I get a 20-litre saucepan. And I get 20 litres of milk from a very best cow, put it in the saucepan while it's still warm, put it up on the windowsill in the dairy, without the lid on. There are lots of dairy cows. There are also lots of lactobacilli. They're the bacteria that are really, really good for you. In fact, if you go onto the health food shop, they'll probably sell you a little tiny bottle of them for about $20. Dairy farmers like me breathe them in and out all day, every day, absolutely free. The lactobacilli get into the milk. They start to break down the primary sugar in milk, which is lactose, and in the process form small amounts of lactic acid. The lactic acid causes a curd to form, and from that curd we can make a very simple little cheese. I'm not taking it away, you can have it back. I'm just seeing where you get, how you get it on. Let's have a quick look. I won't go again. Pass it around if somebody else wants to go. Put your hand up, come and get it. Free for all. Now we don't have any lactobacilli, we don't have enough to set the cheese. We've got lactic acid in our arms, but you can't get it. So what do you do? What do you always do? I'll show you first though. That's the skim milk. So if you had a skinny latte on the way down here and that didn't have froth on it like that, then you'd have missed out. It froths because lovely fresh protein in the milk mixes with air when you're shaking or moving it, and it just froths up and it holds a very, very stable froth for quite a long while. So what we're going to do, I'm going to use the skim milk. About 3 cups of milk. If the littlies are helping, warm it up to baby bath water temperature. You can use skim milk, pasteurised milk, whatever you got. Doesn't work. I've never tried it with long life milk, so I don't know. But anyhow, fresh milk is best. If you do it on your own, you can take it up a lot hotter. It will work better. Now we want to try and get that to curdle, so what we're going to do, what do you always do when you've got a problem? You go to the pantry, not to get comfort food, because the answer is sitting there on a shelf in front of you. You've got acetic acid, vinegar, white vinegar. And you've got citric acid, lemon juice. About a dessert spoon for every cup. 1, 2, oh good, that'll be. And away we go. How are we going with that butter over there? I don't mean to spoil my best jokes. Okay. Let's have a go. That's good, you can have it back. Oh, we're getting there. No, you're doing well. You're doing well. Let me have a look. Oh, yes. Excellent shaking. Carry on. You're doing a good job. Okay.
So what it does, it blotches up the
So we
cream.
put the vinegar in.
But my mum puts milk in it.
85%.
Yeah, solid, yeah.
It's on the internet, so it must be true. Somebody worked in it. Anyhow, 85% of the cheese made around the world every day is made using vinegar. Why? Because it's quick, it's cheap, and it's available. So we're using that to make. I have to put a bit more in. Somebody watered the vinegar down. Okay. It's a little tiny bit more. We'll bring us in. Okay, let that curdle while we get on with the butter making. How we go? If it starts to clear the jar, stop. Stopped. Good. That's exactly what I want. Now what we need to get to is what I, or some of us call the, we've gone a bit too far, doesn't really matter, the rice grain stage. We want to flush all the liquid out to firm it up. So if you get to that stage, and you keep going thinking I'm going to make a really nice butter, all you end up with is a patty blob you can't do anything with, you've got to throw it away and start again. Hopefully we'll be able to recover this. We need a colander. Stick that down there, doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's a bit too far, doesn't matter. You're stronger than you look. Just going to flush it. If you wanted salted butter, you could get a fine dairy salt, ordinary table salt would be gritty, but to be nice. I would just actually get a tub like that, put some salt water in it, sit it in it for half an hour, take it out again. So I'm just going to tap that out on the table and see what we can do in regards to working it up. Butter pats. Yeah, she's a bit too fast. She's not going to let me do it. It doesn't matter. We can see what we're doing. We then start to form a butter pat. If you want a little supermarket brick, keep going. You'll be there in about an hour. On a day like today, it'll start to melt, so you need to drain it, put it in the fridge, keep it cool. Keep working, working, working. But again, I don't like supermarket bricks. I like to be able to put the butter on the bread or toast. I even like it on fruit cake. Without destroying the piece of bread in the process. That's quite soft, spready butter. And that is unsalted butter. A few minutes ago we were thinking of just tipping down the sink and getting rid of. A couple of little tips. A lady I know, she's very canny with a penny. She lives alone and she looks along the dairy shelf at the supermarket, and when the cream is right down, because it's a day or two away from its